Imagine a world where every time you eat, you take a risk of dying. Imagine every time you crave a pop, a cookie, or chips, you risk your own life. This is a real possibility to some that have diabetes. On the Umonhon Indian Reservation, where I'm raising my family, diabetes is a real problem for members of the tribe. As a business major, I realized quickly that in America, businesses don't care about your health just as long as you consume and buy their products. Diabetes is recognized through the world by its blue circle and blue ribbon. The Carl T. Curtis Health Center has a diabetes program that hopes to shed some light on the diabetes in our area.
My name is Ashleen Marr, and I'm a nurse here at the Carl T. Curtis Health Center in Macy, and I recently took over the diabetes program. Diabetes is on the rise on our reservation, and I know that because I do a lot of the screenings here. In our audit that we do every year for the Indian Health Services, it's showing that our numbers are rising. And that might seem bad and scary, but at the same time, from an optimistic point of view, I see it as a good thing because we're able to diagnose more people early and eliminate the chances of those complications that are associated with diabetes, having those take over somebody's life. One of the big things that we do is we're very proactive in screening, capturing A1Cs, which is kind of a definitive test that we do here to make sure someone does or does not have diabetes. Over the last 6 months, we've done so many, and we've have probably 12 new diagnoses just in 6 months of someone who has a family history, a sedentary lifestyle, who doesn't eat right, who is self-proclaimed that they drink a lot of pop, and all of those things, risk factors. They said that they knew what they were, but they thought they might have diabetes. And what we're trying to do is advocate to people in the community that if you fall under any of these categories for risk factors, to get tested. As being Native American in itself is a risk factor. So we're kind of at a disadvantage, but with screening and prevention and advocacy for those screenings, we can eliminate a lot of complications that come along with diabetes.
I'm Allison Appletoft. I'm the registered dietitian here. I help people learn how to eat healthy. So if somebody has diabetes or high blood pressure or any other condition, I can help them learn how they can make small adjustments to their diet to be healthier. The thing that I think would make the biggest difference to reduce the number of people with diabetes here would be if people could cut back on the amount of sweetened drinks that they're drinking. So the pop, the juice, Kool-Aid, all of those foods are so high in sugar, and they are increasing the risk of diabetes here. So that would be one of the biggest things people could do to reduce the risk or help get better control if they already have diabetes. I love talking to people about healthy eating because I love food, and a lot of people think I'm going to tell them not to eat the foods that they love, but really I would never do that. They can still eat all the foods they like, but it's just about how much and when that they're eating them. So actually I can help people eat the foods they like probably more often, but just teach them how much of those foods to eat.
Recently, my husband and I went to his yearly checkup, and the doctor was telling us how bad diabetes is and how many of the businesses don't care about what we eat or how bad it is for our bodies, just as long as we buy their products. He had mentioned that overseas they are taxing unhealthy foods, and the foods that are better for you were cheaper. Unlike here in the States, we are the total opposite. We have healthy foods that are way too expensive and we cannot afford to buy them. And the unhealthy foods are more reasonable price. That's what we buy.
I personally think that diabetes affects my people, the Umonhon people, mainly because of their diet. Personally, that's what I think. They should be eating a lot of greens, vegetables, and fresh fruits. And sometimes it's not that way with the way they eat. It's like they like to eat a lot of chips, that kind of stuff, junk food. And I think I'm kind of guilty of that myself sometimes. And, you know, it's really important that they follow their diet regimen, I think.
So I went back to my desk and I sat there and I said, I don't want to go see him. I don't want to go see him. I didn't want to admit that I was a diabetic. And so the next day, then I start feeling, you know, still having those feelings, what was going on with my body. And so my fix was drink a Pepsi, eat a candy bar, you know, that stuff. And then I went outside and I was still debating, fighting with myself whether I'm going to do this or not. You know, am I going to give in to this? So I walked outside and I had my pop there and had my candy bar, and you know, that was kind of my lunch, regular lunch and regular breaks and everything. So I went out there and I was standing there and thinking about it, and then I said, oh my gosh, I don't need to be drinking this, threw it in the trash. I don't need to be eating this, and threw that in the trash. So I said, okay, all right, I'm going to go see what they have to say. So I came back here, and that diabetes person wasn't here. And so I ended up talking to Adriana. She was the assistant or whatever. So I come, and you know, she tried to be cordial and everything, and said, oh yeah, I got the referral on you, so here's your meter. Just whenever you're comfortable, check your sugar, check your what you call it, check your glucose, and you know, just keep track of that. When you're done, then bring it back, and we'll run the thing, you know, we'll run your chip. We'll put the chip in, and we'll let you see how you're doing. And well, good luck.
One of my biggest success stories that I'm pretty proud of is that I had a patient come in who has had diabetes but hasn't been to the doctor for a really long time. If she did go to the doctor, it was usually on an ER basis. It was never like a planned visit. And she has a long history of diabetes, and she was just getting her medications refilled and a checkup every once in a while if necessary. And she was skipping out a lot of them, so she stopped taking her medications. And she came in, she was very sick that day, and I just wanted to go in and talk to her and see how she was doing. Well, I decided to take a blood sugar on her and asked her, you know, hey, let's start taking your blood sugars. Her blood sugar that day was 700. And she said she felt fine, and she was driving with this blood sugar. And come to find out, you know, her A1C was off the charts, and she hadn't been taking medication and eating how she wanted to, and she said that she knew it was time for a change. She was scared at that point, and we came up with the plan, her and I. We started off slow by making a plan for when she was going to test her blood sugars and how much insulin to take. We started a team with her, myself, the dietitian, and the provider that was going to kind of track her progress. She was able to change the way that she ate, the way that she took her medications and test her blood sugar. So the next time that I saw her, in about 3 months later, I saw her, and her A1C had dropped from a 14 to about an 8. She cut out all soda and stuck to water. She started testing her blood sugars. Her sugars improved greatly. And, you know, it was all a matter of just taking the time to get to know her and seeing what she wanted. It wasn't about telling her she had to do things. It was just motivating her, helping her along, giving her weekly calls, and checking to see how she was doing. Since then, it's been about 6 months since I've seen her, and I mean, physically tested her labs, and her A1C is greatly improved. She's lost like 20 pounds, which has increased, done a lot for that A1C also. And so I always like to use her as my success story, because it was just the small changes that she made one at a time. She was ready to make the change, and it just took for one person to ask how she was doing, and for one person and to care, to someone she could talk to, and it made a big difference in her life.
We have healthy foods that are way too expensive and we cannot afford to buy them, and the unhealthy foods are more reasonable price. That's what we buy. I heard of tribes being sovereign nations, and I would like to see our Omaha tribe exercise its sovereignty and tax the unhealthy foods. Is this idea a solution? Maybe not, but it's worth a try.
I don't want to go blind from diabetes.
I don't want to go blind from diabetes.
I don't want to go blind from diabetes.
I don't want to lose a foot or a leg.
I don't want to have kidney failure.
So I'm taking control.
So I'm taking control.
So I'm taking control.
I'm controlling my diabetes.
It's making a huge difference.
I'm eating healthy and I'm staying physically active.
I am taking my medicine.
I'm taking my medicine.
If I can do it, anyone can do it.
If I can do it, anyone can do it.
If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Control your diabetes for life.